This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Woo! You now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boy, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the wrestler, the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the bits. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. Thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
What's good? It's Wale, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Welcome to the January 14th edition of One Nation Live. James, what's going on, man?
Not too much, just enjoying the best week of NFL football there is, which is the divisional round where you have, the 8 best teams going at it, or the 8 teams still remaining going at it. So it's been a fun weekend so far. We'll see what happens in the next an hour or so when my Vikings go out here and lose at home because they have a bad quarterback. But, yeah, we'll see.
Oh, man. So who are y'all playing?
The Saints.
I don't even.
It's in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. What'd that mean? That's indoors, right? So Drew.
I mean, either way,
Drew Brees about to be at home.
Either way, it's indoor. Well, for me, I have flashbacks from that 2010 NFC Championship game, so I'd rather prefer, like, if it's going to be in a dome, I prefer it to be, the home dome as opposed to,
Gotcha. So they
people putting out people putting out what do you call it?
Bounties.
People putting out money on Brett Favre's ankles and heads. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, man. So a lot happened in wrestling this week. This is kind of our first real show of the year. We did a review for Wrestle Kingdom. We did some award shows for the other weeks, but we're actually jumping back into it a little bit. So good old WWE talk. James, how do you feel about this?
I don't know, man. Like, you look at what they gave us on TV. These first, I guess, 2 episodes of first 4 episodes of the year, and like, ain't really too much to discuss. Like, luckily there's some news for us to talk about, but like the TV product's been kind of like
dry.
What do you say? Yeah, dry. Really lacking. Like a lot left to be desired. All things synonymous with poor. Like it's not really been. They've had some good matches and whatnot, but for the most part, it's been a lot of long matches that kind of like make up for the fact that like we don't really have a direction to go, so let's like shut down like the storytelling aspect of this thing and put it in like neutral until like the real stars show up.
Jared Lark says, "Gratata, get these hands, boy." BOI, that is. We'll jump right into a question from Simon right away. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to save that question, Simon, for our John Cena and Brock Lesnar discussion. So I think that's a fair question. So let me just put that one to the side. But getting started, we got some unfortunate news this week. I touched on it a little bit on the Anchor podcast I did. It is the apparent end of Paige's career. She was told that she would not be cleared by WWE doctors due to a neck injury that was sustained during a 6-woman tag at a house show. And notably, she didn't wrestle last week on Raw. She was doing the manager thing. James, like, from everything you've seen about this, how big of a loss is this? And then, what is Paige's, like, it's kind of quick to jump to what is her legacy, but fuck it, let's do it.
Okay, so it's a loss because at one point in time, she was positioned as the top star in the division at one point. At that point, she was also, like, when she was downgraded to the top babyface of the division behind the top star, who was Nikki Bella. when the horsewomen came in, the three of them, they positioned it to where she was a top star that wasn't a horsewoman. So they've made use of her highly amongst at the time, given what they were doing with the women at that point. Like they made use of her as well as much as any other women. So she was one of their stars, and I mean it was it happened from 2014 till now. But like, I mean, that's 3 years. 3 years in wrestling time goes by really, really fast. So like,
it's a whole nother era right now.
Yeah, she missed a year of that, and it sucks because, she, given her age, was she 25, 24?
25 now.
Yeah, like, you would think at that age, this person could potentially be around for still a good amount of time. She could be a key cog in your long-term future. And it's sad that it seems that it's over. I saw you mention a point mentioned earlier somewhere about the way that they're basically saying she's done. In some circles, it can be considered that she might be getting like railroaded here. But because you mentioned like you can compare it to like the Daniel Bryan thing or whatever, where it's like, well, they do have an incentive to keep him away because like it kind of gets in the way of, it could potentially get in the way of Roman Reigns. Well, there's also the part where like they if not for the movie and everything with the Rock's movie, they would have fired her during when she was going. Right. So that could be a part where it's like, well, we kind of wanted to get rid of you. Let's just wash our hands of the whole situation. And it ends on a positive note as opposed to, we actually have a falling out. Because she still makes good use of her as an ambassador for the UK. Right.
And I think you touched on it, like, the thing with Daniel Bryan that is completely different than the situation is that, he's in the way, of their plans, like nobody else in his situation. And I will go to my grave believing that as a thing. But as far as Paige, you touched on it, like, she was one of the top stars aside from the Horsemen. My feeling was she's a little bit like CM Punk in a sense where she got her trap stole, essentially, by, someone that was able to read her playbook and then, apply it better, like in the Four Horsemen, or Four Horsewomen. Paige will always, I think her legacy will always carry that match against Emma, and that will tell, it showed WWE that the women could do more because, I had a very narrow view of women's wrestling at the time. And when that happened, it was like, wow, it's not that they're not wrestling like this, because apparently it has been going on longer and in the world than we've ever really been exposed to. But that match is never going to get lost. But I don't know if, she ever matched that level again. I don't think she was like, a star on the main roster in the way that you would have expected her to be. And it may be a case of too much too soon with Paige.
It could be that. It could also be, me and you were talking about this when, like, all full disclosure, like, a lot of y'all, have really disliked, like, the AJ Lee, reign of terror is, from 2013 to whatever. And a part of that, when me, it was my decision, was like, well, yeah, she was meaty. Yeah, she wasn't necessarily the best, but, like, there are other alternatives that they went to that weren't exactly the best, that weren't exactly the greatest thing in the world either. They would also, like, would not clear the bar for what you actually want to see on an everyday basis. So you look at, in that same time period, you look at, like, who was there as a quote-unquote dancing partner, and there really wasn't much, in the way of being able to put on quality matches unless, you have somebody that can literally, work magic with lesser talent. Like, I'm not expecting everybody to be AJ Styles, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Or Daniel Bryan. So she had that to deal with as well. Like, I think the biggest tell for me was how good she was her first match back. Her first singles match back. She had that match on Raw with Sasha Banks, and I was like, my God, like, this is probably her best match she's had since the Emma match, probably. And you think all that time off for her to come back in there and do that with somebody that, we consider to be a something approaching, or maybe even possibly just flat out a
a prodigious talent in Sasha, and you see like when she can have these kind of matches that that we thought she always could, but she rarely ever, if ever, delivered after the NXT thing. It's just she needed to be in there in the right situation with other people, and now you see what's that she's done. It's kind of sad because it looked like she possibly was going to be doing like her best in-ring work on WWE television of her career, and now it's gone.
Yeah. I'm just going to go right at the elephant in the room. There is a large contingent of fans. Apparently, Sasha Banks's social media accounts were assaulted, essentially by, as Sierra termed them, deranged Paige fans who were looking for somebody to blame her injury on. I kind of immediately discredited that because A, we don't have real video of what happened. B, wrestlers get hurt all the time, B. Third, Paige was out here on a flimsy neck, apparently, and then, as the new information you stated, her personal doctors didn't clear her, but WWE did, and, the deal with, sports teams and their, medical treatment, that can be agenda-driven. So,
yeah,
maybe it was a situation where, the bill was coming due, and then the bill just came due on her body.
Yeah, that's true. Like, my whole thing when it comes to, like, wrestlers getting injured is like, oh, great. Like, so you're telling me, like, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Like, of course, like, guys, of course, it's wrestling. Like, people get hurt. Like, this isn't a if thing. It's a when thing. Now, as far as, like, the Sasha thing, I don't really go that route. I'm always like, hey, one, is this person have a track record of hurting people? Sasha, no. Is this person, did this person do anything in the ring that, like, clearly could have hurt somebody? I don't know that. So, until I see some type of video evidence of her, like, recklessly kicking her, like the way that Sheamus kicked out, was it Matt Hart? Yeah, was it Jeff Hardy's tooth? He kicked his mouth? Yeah. Like, unless it's something like that, then I'm not really about it because, like you said, like, she has a stack of dimes for her neck. And you know how that is with wrestlers. I mean, keep in mind, she has a lot of mileage on her from the fact that she was wrestling when she was still a young teenager. So,
yep.
she has a lot more mileage on her body than her age would suggest.
Yeah. Let's get into some of these comments. Jared says, I'm so upset Paige is done. She's an OG who didn't get to go down swinging. The whole year and a half was a shit fest for her.
Yep.
A shithole, I might add. Simon says, Paige's legacy is that she's better than AJ Lee, and that's pretty much as well as the youngest woman to hold a championship in WWE. So I guess you could say her legacy is a wrestler too early and a star too late. Simon also said Bryan was cleared by every other doctor and was told he could wrestle by everyone except WWE doctors. Polar opposite with Paige, who was warned by her doctor and cleared by WWE doctors. Nicholas Guerrero says AJ Lee took it to a new level, then Paige stepped it up another level, and the girls now took another step up. And unfortunately, we never got to see the full potential of Paige. Simon said, "Not fans, geeks, and dumbasses." Apparently, to the folks that were assassinating Sasha Banks' social media. And
hold on, real quick. Anytime somebody, to be fair, right? Anytime any wrestler gets hurt in the ring with somebody else's actions, unless it's somebody that they don't like Roman Reigns or John Cena, they people will come out the woodwork and say, you're dangerous, you're an unsafe worker. Case in point, Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
In 2015, when he broke Cena's nose with a knee and then ended Sting's career. I don't hold against. She's my third wrestler. I don't hold against because one, Seth isn't aside from that need to Cena, he's never done anything that I was like, oh yeah, that is dangerous and needs to stop.
Right. Yeah, but with Paige, it's so unfortunate. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where she's going to be a coach now or if she's going to transition into a manager role, but I definitely am upset to hear that essentially, this is going to probably be her career-defining run with, the Absolution group, because there was, potential for her to, get back on top of the division as a heel and then, turn it back around whenever the group broke up. It's unfortunate to see, because I doubt, and I mentioned this in my anchor show, that you've made all the money you're going to make at 25, and I imagine that wrestler check is a little bit different than the other ones. So, it's unfortunate, man. And, she went through a lot this past year, as I believe Dion alluded to, as Jared alluded to. And it's just like one more, thing to add to the list. So best way is to go out to Paige, and hopefully, this is a situation where if she's able to recover, they can, go back and change their minds, but it does not look like a bright scenario. Something else to me that doesn't look like a bright scenario: John Cena versus The Undertaker. Looks like it is the hot rumor this week in WWE and the WrestleMania rumor mill. James, this match comes, I feel like, really late in both of their careers to really, do anything aside be two names on paper. Once again, dropped another anchor expressing my disgust for this match. James, what are your thoughts on this match?
My thoughts is this should have happened at WrestleMania 32, but it didn't because John Cena was hurt, and they had to do this whole thing with Shane instead. But I don't know. I don't really care to see another Undertaker WrestleMania match in a prime time, gigantic spot where it's headlining WrestleMania as an anchor for the show. But there's always the hope that, Undertaker was really, really hurt. And had hip surgery in January last year, and then, a couple months later wrestled in a WrestleMania main event. So you think maybe with a year of time to recover and, whatever else, that he could be in better condition. My thing is, at this point, I don't know what happened to John Cena over the last, 10 months or whatever else, but
he's declining quick.
I don't know if it's because the story's not there or whatever else aside from the Roman match, but I don't think he could carry or help carry Undertaker the way that he probably could have a year, 18 months ago. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm
wary of that. Cena. But if we can get John Cena back into the ring on a consistent basis, kind of try to get some of this rust off of him.
Right.
Maybe we're in for a quality match. Who knows? But like I said, given what's happened with Undertaker over the last over last year with the whole is there a retirement? Is it not? And then he leaves his garb and everything there like it was done. I don't want to see Undertaker if he doesn't retire, cool. But I don't want to see Undertaker in another match. Nah.
Undertaker out here finessing every year at WrestleMania at this point. This is this man's going to win Finesser of the Year if they do this and put it on at the main event again, James.
Yeah. My thing is, if he doesn't want to retire, fine, but don't do it at WrestleMania because you basically, you did the whole thing in 2016 saying that WrestleMania will no longer define you. Then you had a match where you basically you had to say he's going to retire you. You didn't say it was a retirement match, but you lay your guard down is almost to say this is the end of my run at WrestleMania. I'm here, and if I retire, fine, but if I come back, then it won't be WrestleMania because it no longer defines you. So I've always thought if he does come back, let it be SummerSlam or Royal Rumble or Survivor Series or whatever else to help add to a card or whatever, right. But not WrestleMania because one, that's too much pressure for you at your age. Was he 52 now?
He's going to be 53 by the time WrestleMania 34 rolls around.
Right. So he keeps getting older and he had the demand to have a high quality 4+ star Undertaker match at WrestleMania is still there. So like, it don't matter if he like wrestles another 5 years at WrestleMania and the matches are just okay or good. Like, we still want to see like Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, CM Punk versus Undertaker. We still want to see those. And honestly, he has not done that since 29 with CM Punk.
Yeah. It's been a rough, like, 4 years. Like, I feel like Undertaker hasn't done anything necessarily interesting since the end of an era match when he was, you know, doing all that mic work with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and, you know, playing off there. That was the real end of an era, like, looking back on it. You know, 29, like, I felt like he caught a flat tire, in a sense, and that was a CM Punk masterpiece. And, you know, Undertaker was there with the perfect guy to, you know, mask any deficiencies, but then the wheels fell off. And, you know, WrestleMania 30, you know, he caught the concussion, and, you know, the whole lead up felt lame as fuck. Then, you know, they break the streak. He comes back. He doesn't do anything to help Bray Wyatt build the other feud. They have that 10-minute match where they just lumber around like two big oafs, and then Undertaker comes back and starts kicking people in the dick in the summertime. It's like, what are they doing with the Undertaker? And
but at least like that SummerSlam and the Hell in a Cell match 2015, at least those were really good. You know what I mean? So you had some hope for what was going to happen later, and then like he kind of got screwed over by the Shane McMahon thing. Like, Cena got hurt.
And then those guys went ahead and punched each other for 30 minutes, and then Shane went up there and decided, you know, he believed he could fly, apparently, and he went through the damn table. WrestleMania 33, you know, I wrote a column last year, like, he was like Muhammad Ali fighting against Larry Holmes. Like, it looked terrible. And I think he's a shell of himself. I think he should, as you mentioned, what would stop them from, like, doing the end of The Undertaker at Survivor Series, the event where he debuted, and then kind of send him off that way? Like, let him, you know, be a sole survivor against, you know, a couple guys, and thank you, Undertaker, you know, and take your ass on. But, like, The Undertaker, he's not Chris Jericho right now. It's like, there's no, like, Jericho is the ultimate exception for being the old guy that can still do it, go, be interesting, reinvent yourself. The Undertaker is, like, coasting on a reputation that was built a long time ago at this point. And to see John Cena and The Undertaker matched up right now, this just reeks of them be like, man, we never did this match before. Don't we look stupid for never doing this? So let's just do it now. Right. Like, they should have done this earlier.
Another thing about it is, like, I'm thinking of the build-up, and, like, the only thing I think of is, you said that I was old to retired battered veteran or whatever, a battered veteran with a broke up hip or a bad hip or whatever else, like in your lead up to Roman Reigns thing. Okay, cool. So then, like, so we're gonna have John Cena versus, like, Undertaker on face to face on the mic. Like, what in the world could John Cena do besides literally bury Undertaker and then say, like, yeah, you can't get it done in the ring anymore, and then they have a bad match? Be like, okay, so you told me that this dude can't get it done, and then y'all go out there and have a bad match where he goes out and wins, like, it goes out and loses? Nah, man, I don't want to see that.
If John Cena comes out here and does that burial promo to the Undertaker, like that shoot burial promo to, like he does everyone else, I'm going to scream, like.
But seriously, like, what in the world could they possibly do besides that?
I mean, bro, like,
is John Cena supposed to be spooked of the Undertaker in 2018?
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, John Cena, a grown ass man at this point. He's not no rookie. Like, I think the way that they lay it out is like they literally flash back to the beginning of Cena's career. They do a big thing off of him running into the Undertaker backstage, and then these guys having these parallel careers on different shows and never really crossing paths, and then showing the brief times that they did, like in 2009 when they were at Madison Square Garden, like when they did that big tag team match before WrestleMania 23. It was John Cena and Batista versus or John Cena and Shawn Michaels versus Batista and Undertaker. You know, things like that, and then just show them Cena being the guy that, you know, essentially, you know, was the big cash cow for this time, but he never really had a reason to go at the Undertaker. I think that's maybe how you do it, but it's way too late, bro, to tell that story, like, for it to be interesting at all. And then who wins?
Like, okay, so who calls out who?
Right. Well, I think John Cena ends up calling out the Undertaker.
Or is it going to be a thing where, like, oh, yeah, it's going to be Raw 25, so Undertaker's already there, so, like, I might as well come out there and, like, oh, seeing that you here, I need to ask you something. You want to run it? Like, okay. Like,
yeah. But I got one thing left to do.
All right, fine, whatever. Like,
yes.
It could be, it's one of those things where, like, it's like the resignation of what's happened with a lot of this part-timer stuff in WrestleMania, where it's like, yeah, that could be good. It could also not. And if you ask me what's more likely to happen, it's not good.
Yeah.
So
let's get into a couple of these
this
comments.
Is one where I think that here's the thing. I think their feud could be. I think they're I think they could come up with an interesting build up, but I don't know about the match. I'm more convinced they can put on a compelling build up than the actual match. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, especially at this rate, because like the Undertaker's a complete mystery, and then Cena, you never know what side of the bed he's going to wake up on at this point. He can either have a match he had against Jason Jordan, or he can have a match he had against Baron Corbin. Like you never know. Let's get into some comments. Simon says, "This is such bullshit." Nicholas Guerrero says, "Neither guy needs to do this match. It will only hurt legacies." Simon says, "Has anyone seen the interview from 2002 where Taker said he doesn't want to be the washed up guy?" Welp. I've seen that one. It's right before WrestleMania 18.
Well, here's the thing, Simon. Like, I'm sure he didn't want to be a washed up veteran, but like by all accounts, or not by all accounts, but by some accounts, like his brand ain't exactly as nice as you would think it would be for a person that basically works 5 days a year, and collects $1 million. So you kind of got to do what you got to do. So I ain't gonna knock nobody for saying they want more money,
especially Vince McMahon's money. Like somebody got to take some of that. Josh said Shane put on a triangle, and I think that was probably in response to me saying they stood and punched each other, and then Shane wanted to do a gravity test. Jared says,
"You remember how bad that promo was that Shane cut about the Undertaker? It was pretty much like the worst version, the worst version you could possibly do of what Daniel Bryan said about Brock Lesnar, or like when Brian did that promo about for AJ Styles about Survivor Series against Lesnar, about once you get past 10 minutes, you're gonna blow up, and then we'll see what happens now because you're a quitter. Well, if I remember correctly, Shane cut a promo against Undertaker saying that your body's gonna collect too much red blood cells, and then your body's gonna just burn out or something like that. And he did it He said it so uncharismatically. It was like, wow, I have no reason to want to see this match. This is going to be terrible. I was kind of right.
Yeah. Jared says, nah, if they wanted to end Undertaker at Survivor Series, they would have done it against Bray back in 2015 at the 25th anniversary. Solid point. Dion says they can do a mixed tag, Taker and Michelle versus Cena and Nikki. I'm done with mixed tags, except the mixed match challenge, which looks really fun. But at WrestleMania, no, they ain't Macho Man and Sherry. So Simon says
they ain't Nikki. Look, they're not Miz and Maurice either.
Yeah. Simon said
we just saw one of those last year and it was awful. Why do you want to see another one?
Simon says Cena would be the Undertaker promo. He said because when people look at you, they see a washed up wrestler more past his time than Ric Flair. That sounds like something that he would say. Casey says he usually works. Casey Norton says I usually work Sunday afternoons and miss this show, so happy to be here. We in here. Damn right, Casey. Glad to have you listening. But yeah, man, Undertaker and Cena. I don't know, bro. I'm not here for washed up wrestlers anymore. I'm just not. And just seeing it is just. And then we'll have Kurt Angle on the card hobbling around elsewhere. I'm straight, bro. So
yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that part. I was thinking about it separate in a vacuum. I wasn't even thinking about the part where it's oh yeah, they're gonna also do Angle versus Triple H and who knows what the hell Shane does. I don't even think about that part. But yeah,
man. moving on. I'm pretty much done with the thoughts of the Undertaker at WrestleMania anymore.
Hold on, real quick. Given what's happened on like with where we are on television this year, and we're leading into this year, don't you feel like it would have been if we were to go back a year in time, that we could have gotten like Miz versus Roman at WrestleMania, and then had Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we kind of got, like, they kind of could have done what they're doing right now. They could have done this last year. They could have.
Dion Murphy says, do a casket match. Oh, my God. Just bury him. Oh, man.
You know what? They need to have a stipulation. You know what stipulation I'm thinking? Last man standing.
Yeah, you can't ever have a bad last man standing match.
And if you do, you should never wrestle again. So, yeah, that might be the way to go. Put a stipulation on there that anybody just get into it from the storytelling and go from there. Because they're not finna go out there and they're not finna go out there and put on a Naito Okada match.
Fuck
They
no.
not.
Josh said, I'm excited for all the nostalgia acts for Raw. 25th anniversary is the right way to use past performers / part-timers. Josh, you are absolutely 100% correct. But you know why I'm not excited for it? Because we see nostalgia all the fucking time in WWE. Like, they won't let go of 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001. And it's just like, yo. But I am excited, like, if they bring back the really old timers, like, when I see stuff like Jake the Snake Roberts or, like, Scott Hall, that's the stuff I can get into. Like, I don't need these dudes, like, occupying real estate on WrestleMania cards anymore. I'm just done with it.
It wouldn't be that bad. There were just two of them, but the fact there's almost like 5 or 6. Like, there's Shane, there's Triple H, there's
You're
Undertaker.
Right. If there were only a few
Cena.
of them, it would be much more tolerable.
Yeah, like, and then, like, depending on the year, like, there's a Jericho that could pop in, there's a Batista that could pop in, there's a Rock that could potentially pop in. Like, there's so many guys that, like, depending on the year, can just hop in here and be like, yep, I'm going to take them. Like, there's 4, headlining slots. Or 8 headlining slots. I'm going to take one of them, and then, like, he'll take one of them, and then next thing you know, you look, you're like, damn, bro, there's 4 big matches, and, like, 4 to 6 of them are filled by. Or filled up on the slots by old guys that, like, don't work every day anymore. Like, that's an issue.
Yeah. But the next thing we're gonna jump over, and let's see, is the WWE Mixed Match Challenge, and this looks really fun. I've seen people, state some fears that they don't know if people are going to be used right, And the way I took it was, it's kind of a separate universe that's, kind of like has its own, type thing. We do have baby faces and heels teaming up. We have weird combinations. We have ones that kind of make sense. But let's go through the teams that ended up being assembled. So we've got Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman, and their charity is Connor's Cure. Obviously, small little woman with huge giant monster. Charlotte Flair and Bobby Roode, their charity is Girl Up, and I believe they were put together simply to be called the Robe Warriors.
The Robe Warriors.
Sasha Banks and Finn Balor were put together, and they're representing the Special Olympics.
No, you know why they're really put together?
Why?
Because Charlotte and Bobby Roode both have Ric Flair gimmicks. That's why.
Also, AJ Styles was not available for this, so.
We don't speak about that in public. Move on.
Yeah, stay woke, Charlotte, AJ Styles.
Those things out loud. You trying to get somebody caught up.
Yep. So the next team with Sasha Banks and Finn Balor, they were representing the Special Olympics. 2 big fan favorites that seem to get beaten like a drum by the company. So that actually works perfectly well. And they usually both have hard ring gear. Lana and Rusev, the husband and wife, they're representing Global Citizen. I feel like Lana's about to eat a pinfall early. We have Naomi and Jimmy Uso, who, if this were a shoot, I may go with them. They represent the Boys and Girls Club of America, and they're going to bring tons of athleticism to the ring, and it's going to be interesting seeing Jimmy start being positioned elsewhere, from Jay. I hope they never do that, by the way. I'm gonna let you finish the list, but I'm gonna make a comment about these charitable organizations. But go ahead. Yeah. Nia Jax and Apollo Crews, they're representing Susan G. Komen. The funny thing that's been going on with Nia Jax and Apollo Crews, they've been all over social media, and Titus Worldwide has been really excited that they're affiliated with Nia Jax, while Nia Jax is just disgusted at the thought that she's going to hang around Dana Brooke, and then the self-promoter Titus O'Neil. I am here for Titus Worldwide all day, every day. Asuka and The Miz, they are representing Rescue Dogs Rock. Asuka is ready to kill everyone, and The Miz is just overjoyed that he gets to just watch. Alicia Fox and Goldust are teaming up for Higher Heroes USA. Goldust continuing his trend of only tag teaming with black folks, which is just like a running joke that will never die. Who can forget Book Dust? Who can forget the Golden Truth? Who can forget Cedric Alexander and Goldust teaming up? Now Alicia Fox adds to the great legacy of Goldust tag team with black folks. Goldust, you were invited to my cookout. Bailey and Elias are together, which is just, they kind of got backdoored together. Samoa Joe really won the voting, but he was injured. Hopefully he'll be okay. But they're representing AmeriCares. Natalya and Shinsuke Nakamura are together in a weird pairing. And they're representing Make-A-Wish. Becky Lynch and Sami Zayn. James, you have to talk about this. And they're representing UNICEF. What did you think of that reveal? I think we lost James, but I'm going to get him back on the line. Looks like we got him. Live radio, everybody. Uh-oh.
Yeah, telling you.
Yep, live radio, everybody. So, Becky Lynch and Sami Zayn, what did you think about that reveal, James?
Oh my God! It's the funniest thing I've seen this year on wrestling. Dude, okay, so I saw the video of it playing with no audio, and on before they even aired it on SmackDown Live. So I see the video, and I see him just some dude walking up on Becky with I'm like, dude, why does this dude have a big black mustache and gray hair and glasses? That's weird. And a Randy Orton shirt, that's weird. And next thing I know, this man snatches off the wig, snatches off the mask. I'm like, oh my God, it's Sami Zayn.
A damn fool.
And then I thought to myself, and the way he snatched it off with such enthusiasm, it was yeah, I got you. You didn't know it was me. It was almost like I caught you doing it in the middle of something you weren't supposed to be doing. So,
or that man was a scammer.
Yeah, that too. So, I start bursting out laughing, and I just could not believe it because he's enough. I mean, he's part of the top heel act in the brand, and they still treat him like a geek. The word they put a mask on. Go ahead. We're gonna dress you up like a clown.
Yes.
So put a wig on, literally.
Yes.
You a clown ass nigga, put a wig on. So then from there, I start, in my mind, I go through all the jokes. I'm like, dude, he looks like one of the bad guys running from the Beastie Boys and Sabotage.
I've never seen that video, but I'll have to check it out. It sounds funny. Oh my
God, bro. It's the whole video is they're running through around Los Angeles and they're dressed as cops or whatever, and then.
Oh no, I believe James's laptop is giving him some absolutely terrible troubles. But yeah, let's figure out what he has going on here. So I'm going to disconnect from James, but I'll read off a couple of the comments that you guys gave us. So Dion Murphy says, "Small woman monster dude," parentheses, porn movie. Unbelievable. Nicholas Guerrero says, "No one should beat Miz and Asuka." You're correct. Indeed, no one should beat Asuka, as I'm getting James back on the line here. Casey says, I'm going to have to Google AJ and Charlotte. Yes, you will, because we are not going to spill the beans here. Jared says,
too late. You kind of already did.
Nah, not quite. Y'all need to just go see for yourselves. Jared Lark says, bruh, Rich, tell me you did not just say that. I'm talking about Booker. And Casey said, Dusty raised those boys right. The Rose know about hard times. Oh, man. And our last team.
Wait. So you think never mind. I'm not even going to get into it. Just move on. I'm not even going to get into it.
So, and the last team was Carmella and Big E, who were put together by fan voting, and everything they've been doing with the pancakes is absolutely hilarious. Backstage, has this been Carmella's best performance since she's, had the briefcase?
Is the most carried work she's done since she won that briefcase. Because I think I looked maybe a couple weeks ago, whatever, and I think she's only been in like 8 or like 11 matches or something like that. She's like 3-11 or something since she won the briefcase on TV. So yeah, like it's been really bad,
man. But yeah, those are all the teams. So let's look at the brackets. So the first round matches, it will be Finn Balor and Sasha Banks taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya, because anytime you got to beat your fan favorites right away, you do. We've got the Miz and Asuka facing off against Big E and Carmella. We've got Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss against Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch. So, you're going to
I wonder who's going to lose that.
Goldust and Alicia Fox against Jimmy Uso and Naomi.
I wonder who's going to lose that.
Yep. And on the Raw side, we've got Elias and Bayley against Rusev and Lana. We've got Apollo Crews and Nia Jax against Bobby Roode and Charlotte. So,
I wonder who's going to win that.
I think this is I don't know. I would have done the brackets a little bit different. But it looks like it's going to be like there will be some type of second chance fan vote spot. There may be some type of like double elimination type thing. But I'm pretty excited for this. I think it's going to be cool just to see them interact, and you don't really see the men and the women like interact with each other a ton, and I think that could lead to opportunities for like cool storylines, because it sometimes I think it gets like, and this is one thing I enjoyed about wrestling in the old days, was the interaction between like, a Trish Stratus and a Triple H and The Rock and Lita and Stephanie, and being all like involved, and it isn't like its own universe. It's like, man, those women, they're in a completely separate stratosphere than us. So I think that's going to be really cool. Is there anything in particular in this tournament you're looking forward to, James?
Just to see what they do as far as like their wrestling. Like, are they going to actually like let them have like matches that are based on their athletic ability and oh my god, on their athletic ability? Or are they going to do like sports entertainment-y stuff, or not sports entertainment stuff, but have like weird finishes or whatever else? Or are they going to try and use like storytelling to tie in the fact that like this is a heel and a good guy that are teaming together? Who's gonna more or less influence the other?
Right.
Like will there be heel and face turns based off of this? Like, will they actually like use this as part of canon in storytelling on the main shows, or will that just be like, yep, it's not canon, it's just like main event or superstars or whatever else, where we just like, we put it on with the WB superstars, but like, nah, you don't have to give a fuck about this at all. So we'll see.
Couple comments. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to get into that, Dion. Josh says fix your call quality. So I guess James's internet needs to get right, apparently. Nick says WWE needs to push Elias. He could be huge. He's got the look, a good gimmick, good talking skills, and charisma. I'll say this about Elias. He is definitely what they're looking for, and he owns the crowd when he talks to them, and he has something that people like. Personally, not my cup of tea, but I'm not important in this situation, like, because like Elias isn't like at a level right now where I have to care enough, so just let him do his thing. What do you think about that, James?
He has a great look, and he can talk. but the bell eventually has to ring, and when the bell rings, he's god awful. So if he improves in the ring, he might have a shot. But as of right now, in the 7 months he's been up, there's nothing there. He was in the ring with Balor, had nothing. Multiple times, had nothing. In the ring with Jason Jordan, who's one of the better workers in the company, in the ring, had nothing. Fought Roman Reigns, had nothing. Fought John Cena for 15 minutes, had absolutely nothing. Had John Cena getting this boring chance in his first time back since Survivor Series. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Casey Norton says, give Elias some time. I think they've got plans for him. I do agree. I think they do have plans for him. Now, the result of those plans...
Of course they do. Like, listen to how they talk about him on commentary. They put him over huge, even while he's having bad matches.
Yep. So flashback, we didn't address that Simon question that I saved. He said, what did the Undertaker's streak accomplish? Putting over Goldberg?
You asked me, the whole idea you thought was that eventually it would lead to a gigantic star getting made off the fact that they broke the streak, right?
Right.
It accomplished nothing, which is why they should never have broke the streak to begin with Lesnar. We've been saying that for, 4 years now?
I remember when it happened, it was like the feeling was so cathartic that Goldberg squashed Lesnar. Then it's like, holy shit, what did they just do? It was so good they hoodwinked us and completely undid their own. It was like a reset essentially.
But not really, because at the end of the day, regardless of whatever happened with whoever Lesnar was going to lose to or whatever else, ultimately there was this whole thing where Brock Lesnar was a heavyweight world champion cage fighter, so he kind of was already a star.
Yeah.
So he kind of didn't need the rub of beating the Undertaker because he was already a star. So what the fuck was the point? The whole thing was always moronic. It was always stupid. It was always dumb. You go back and watch that match at WrestleMania 30, and you see how the crowd reacts. We're literally, there's no sound. It took them until the main event after that happened for people to, halfway through it, for people to be they actually get into the match. I think about the time you got the RKO Batista bomb deal on the table, that's when the crowd actually, really got into the main event, because of everyone was just did these dudes really just did this?
Yes. And if they did that to Undertaker, what would they do to Daniel Bryan?
Oh, yeah. But that's that, too.
Yeah, so a couple comments on here. Jared says, it's not Vince overseeing the tournament, so I feel like these interactions could be very, very interesting. You are correct. Dellen says, I was really happy to see Becky and Sami Zayn team up. Then I saw who they were facing, come on, man. Yeah, because, if anything's going to happen, we're going to have Sami Zayn go over Braun Strowman in round one.
Yeah. Or better yet, have, Becky go over Alexa Bliss after what they did to them a year ago.
Right.
Where they fucked Becky 6 ways from Sunday.
Yes. Rant says Sammy is going to be trying to pull Becky to the dark side. I hope not. He better stay away from our good and pure Becky Lynch. Jared Lark says,
that was a storyline. Rich, apparently that got caught from the TV, but the storyline, the part of it at the end was both of them basically trying to show each other she basically, I'm going to try and bring Sammy back, to the good side, and then it's almost like some Kylo Ren and oh my god, I'm blanking on her name, and Rey from Star Wars, my god. So where they basically one's good, one's bad, and they might end up they're trying to bring the other one to their side, but they might end up flipping at the end. But we'll see. That might be what they're going for, but they cut it off from TV because we can't ever get nuance. Can't do
that. Jared says Elias is not god awful. Hello. I don't know.
Huh?
I don't watch.
Have you ever seen any of his matches?
I haven't really paid attention to Elias aside from his Great Value Rock concerts. So, I haven't really paid attention.
Look, Name me a match that wasn't that like recently anyway that like did not get boring chants or whatever else, or the crowd just basically sitting on their hands, and then I might like relook it. But like every time I've seen him in a match, it's been the same thing where the crowd's not into it. He does nothing. Like, don't get me wrong, like he has a beautiful top rope elbow, but I'm not saying that he's a stiff or anything, because I don't think that. I just think like he's not really good at wrestling yet, or if he'll ever be, he's just not. So it is what it is. Like if he improves, he has a shot. But like, I mean, he already has some stuff going for him where he already has the look. He looks like Macho Man and Seth Rollins had a kid, and he looks like, and I mean, and he has a legit gimmick for heat, right? Whether it's go away heat or not, like that's up for y'all to decide. But like people boo and they're giving him a push, but until he proves in the ring, I don't really see that they're going to go that much further. I'm not saying that he needs to be freaking Seth Rollins in the ring. I'm saying he just needs to be able to put on a match for more than 10 minutes or more than 12 minutes where the crowd doesn't just completely die on him.
Fair point. Nicholas says the streak is going to end up failing to put over Roman twice. Once with Taker himself and once through Brock.
That's funny as shit.
Yeah, because think about it. He already beat The Undertaker now. Like, is that streak energy, like, stuck with Brock Lesnar before? But, you know, if my memory serves me correct, Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in a triple threat match, even though Brock wasn't pinned. He still lost. So, like, did Roman really get the streak energy? And then, like, it went to someone else? Like, does Rusev have the streak energy? Where is the streak energy, James?
Dude, remember, I said this when it happened, when they, after WrestleMania, or actually not even that, like, once we found out that the whole thing was, we're going to build towards, before even Royal Rumble 2015, when we found out, like, in like November 2014, that, like, it's going to be Roman, it's going to be Brock for the title. Like, I thought it was like, so you mean to tell me that they broke the streak so they can give the dude that broke the streak a loss? Is like, so you mean to tell me like y'all using transitive property to get the streak over? That's not going to work. No one gives a shit. That's not how that works. And sure enough, it has not worked for him. And look where he's at now. Like, if you had told me in November 2014 that we would beat Roman Reigns in like the 3 years later, I would never believe it. Yeah. Like, I always thought that, like, yeah, that dude could be the next guy. Like, he is the next guy right now, but, like, he's so lukewarm. Like, he's not the guy. He is a guy that they have made into the guy. And it's not because, you know, he sells more than anybody else or anything else. It's just, like, that's who they decide to go with, and they have plans, and whatever they decide is what goes. So, ain't nobody going to turn off the television or anything else. It's just what it is.
We'll just hope against hope that, you know, someone gets hot where they're undeniable again. But I think they will put a kibosh on it. He's so
good in the ring now.
Yeah.
And he's so good in the ring now. Don't even matter.
Yeah. So Casey Norton says, great Star Wars reference, James. Simon says, may the streak energy be with you. And then all caps, use the streak energy.
God damn it.
Yeah. So, we were talking about Elias and then went off into Roman Reigns somehow. So I don't know how that happens, but
body guys.
Yes, body guys. Okay. So mixed match challenge.
Jordan next.
What's up?
You want to talk about Jason Jordan next, since we talk about body guys?
Jesus. Let's see. That was a mixed match challenge. It's going to be pretty interesting. You're going to be able to watch it on Facebook Watch. So definitely let us know what you guys think about that, because I don't know if I'm probably going to cover it a little bit in a column form. But yeah, man. The last thing I want to talk about today is the pending arrival of Ricochet. He was in PWG and gave like a farewell speech. All the wrestlers came out to the ring. It looks like he is headed to WWE in a long overdue, signing. I think it's funny how they waited to get Ricochet until he was bald. He lost his hair.
God, what does that have to do with anything?
But Ricochet, cool dude. Met him over WrestleMania weekend. Got a shirt from him. Let him know keep pushing it forward, and it looks like he's going to be able to get a chance to do that. But James, like, do you think Ricochet is the kind of star that should skip over the NXT system, or should he go to NXT and become a fancy? No, I'm not saying will he. Should he? Will he just become a fancy toy for them to play with in NXT, or can he actually? Should he, be in more of an AJ Styles vein?
Should or will?
Should.
I mean, there are a number of reasons for either one in the should category. So I don't really know. I don't know. Like right now, like given this time of year, if you were to bring him in, like what you could do for him, saying that like you would never actually use him for WrestleMania in any type of slot that mattered because we have these 45-year-old guys. So like you could be look at last year, you could end up being Braun Strowman and be told to move aside. You could be Samoa Joe to tell you move aside.
You can be clear like Finn Balor like 2 months before WrestleMania, and they're like, you know what, we just gonna wait.
Yeah, so I don't know. So like if you do bring him up straight to the main roster, it'd be best to hold off until the night after WrestleMania. But if it's a situation where like they would actually do something with him, then yeah, sure. But I don't really buy that. That they would. So it might be better off for him, like in that case, where like if he needs to come in like right now, then yeah, NXT will be a nice spot for him. Like he could be the first challenger to Gargano or Andrade for WrestleMania's for NXT New Orleans takeover.
I think they would have to put him in the main event of that show. Just looking at how everything's going to shake down in New Orleans and all the competition. I mean, it looks like we're going to get Kenny Omega against either Cody or I don't think they're going to do a Bushi, but and Tanahashi's going to be on that Ring of Honor show. It's going to be like the same type of deal.
Yeah, but they don't care about that.
Casey's crazy. So a couple comments.
What did Casey say?
So he said, apparently the requirement to go straight to the main roster is to be a former IWGP champion who is white. Wow. Yeah. So basically, you got to be like, you got to be Brock Lesnar or AJ Styles or who else is a white former IWGP champions? Bro, that might be it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, of modern times, at least. So Jared Lark says, well, they put AJ in a non-important WrestleMania match in his debut and he lost, and look where he is now. So I mean, look,
but at least he was in a match that he was actually in a match. What I'm saying is like they don't like AJ Styles Ricochet is as big a star as AJ Styles was coming in. He's not. So you gotta like he's not gonna debut and then like show up like the next Raw or whatever else, and you hear Ricochet chants like that's bellowing throughout the entire arena for like a minute. That's not gonna happen with him. A lot of people just know who he is. Like he wasn't on television for a decade.
It's gonna be in Philadelphia. The hardcore fans will be in effect. If Ricochet came out and was the number 2 guy at the Royal Rumble and went in there, I feel like the response would be deafening. Absolutely deafening.
Maybe, but it's not. He's not on AJ Styles' level back then. Like it's just not they're not the same. Like on the outside, Americans on the outside. Like where would Ricochet rank?
I mean, I think he's at least like top 3. Like you got Matt Riddle, you got Keith Lee, and you got like Ricochet. I think, and if you're talking about guys that aren't like tied up to anyone, like Ricochet's not with New Japan anymore.
No, but I just meant like not WWE or NXT.
Oh, okay.
That's all I meant.
Okay, I think he's a top. He's at least top 10.
Yeah, I believe that. I would say probably top 5. But my thing is like, is that the same thing as being AJ Styles, who was like literally on like, granted, you can talk about whatever you want to say about NXT or about TNA or Impact or whatever the hell they call it now, or
the Owl, whatever the hell it is. But he was on TV for literally a decade, and like Puma, like he was Puma. He wasn't even Ricochet when he was on American television, except for Access. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like AJ Styles had a way bigger exposure to a lot of wrestling fans than even Ricochet had, and that played into the part with AJ.
Let's see. So Dylan says, "Yeah, Rich, that's a hardcore crowd though. AJ is over everywhere." I think you guys are underestimating like the impact of what looking like a star and getting Royal Rumble chance and can teach an audience in one night. Like if they send this dude in there, let him do all that crazy shit, you can't tell me that he won't be like any more over than Elias is, who they just pull out of NXT, who's a handmade developed WWE project.
No, like, absolutely, but here's my thing, right? What in the world will make you think they will let him do all that crazy stuff? You see that? You look at 205 Live. Why in the world
that's the problem.
Why would they let him do what the hell it is? Double 450 splashes on people? Hell no.
Look, maybe if they got out the way and let these dudes, do what they do, maybe somebody would get over. Maybe. You're right. You might be onto something there, Rich. It's as if that's not it's as if there's been some thought about that before around the circles of everyone else in that follows this show or this company. Yeah, Jared says
you might be onto something.
Jared says, can they pull a Mick Foley where Ricochet comes in and then gets eliminated and then comes in later as Prince Puma? No, and the reason I say no is because they haven't done El Generico yet with Sami Zayn. Which he's a heel now. This is ripe to happen. Like Sami Zayn gets fired or loses some type of career match, and he comes back acting like El Generico, and everybody knows it's him. But Sami Zayn's old delusional ass acts like he's not Sami Zayn. Meanwhile, he has the same body type, and he doesn't shave his body like, and he wears the same gear and just puts a mask on.
Yeah. Like I think if they do that with somebody, it will be Sami Zayn because they view him as a geek. And and also quiet or not quiet as kept, like open secret for everyone to know that's out there. Like they did all that stuff with Mick Foley because they thought he was a geek as well. It's just he turned out to be like a Hall of Famer geek that they treated like a geek for so long, but even though he kept getting over, like, and at that point, like, it was a situation where you got over, like. They would like stymie you because it's not in their plans. Back then, like Vince was like, I'm desperate for anything to work to try to, keep the business afloat. So nowadays, like you can't do that sort of thing anymore. I mean, you can, but like you won't get over.
Yeah, man. It's tough, man. We had in the Social Suplex, complex or in the Social Suplex, group thread, like I was expressing my disdain for like the NXT system and like finding out what it truly is at this point. Like, is this like just a toy factory, a vanity promotion? Is it a developmental? Are there certain people that are protected for certain reasons? And with Ricochet coming in, he's like a perfect test for it. I feel like, do they? If they put him on top in NXT, what will it ultimately really mean if he gets to the main roster and they don't know what to do with him? Like, what's the point?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? Vince don't watch NXT, obviously. Vince clearly has like the footnotes on guys, and then like tries to rejigger things and move things and try to quote unquote make them better, and in the process a lot of times and most of the times makes things worse for people. And also you throw in the fact where like it's WWE, so regardless of where they're coming from or whatever else, you get a push for like 3 weeks to a month, and then next thing you know, you get 50-50, and then you're just a guy like everybody else. Like this is what it is.
Oh man.
Like, I mean, there are occasions where you can be Kevin Owens, but more often than not, like you're Sami Zayn, you're the American Alpha, you're Neville, you're all these other guys. Like, besides Kevin Owens, who else has been a guy to come out of NXT and been like given stuff to do on a consistent basis for their entire tenure? Charlotte, maybe.
I think you got to look at Charlotte. You got, well, nope, you can't say Finn Balor. You can't say Nakamura.
Nope.
You can't say Bobby Roode.
Nope. They gave him Bobby Roode real quick.
Oh man, turned him regular. But yeah, like, I don't know. I think if left up to his own devices, Ricochet could get over in one night on the main roster in the Royal Rumble if they choose to do that. But, you know, who knows what they're going to do with him. If he's in NXT, I think the only downside is great matches, which, you know, is that's not something I'm going to complain about. But
right.
It will raise an eyebrow, like, of what they really think of these dudes and, like, what are they really developing. And if they're being used to sell tickets, like, why wouldn't you want to sell tickets on your main roster with them and make money with them?
Well,
is it just a preference thing for them? Like, you know, like, yeah, we don't want to do, you know, too much of what y'all want. We have our own guys who we want to use for, you know, whatever.
Well, I mean, ultimately, you know, we always talk about this, like, they pick and choose. So, I mean, it depends on what they want. Like, it's all dependent on what they want to do. And so, you know, whatever happens where they get into the mood of wanting to give somebody a push for whatever reason out the blue, then there you go. Like, you're Jinder Mahal for 6 weeks or 6 months, or you're Titus O'Neil getting a W on TV, or Titus and Apollo Crews getting a W on TV at random. But they just pull rabbits out their hats, or I don't know, they pull straws and like, oh, let's give somebody a push this week. Because the thing is this, they have so much talent that, like, so many of these guys could be in better slots than they are. It just really comes down to who they decide to pick to do that, or if they get over to a certain level. Like, there's no reason why Rusev Day should not have won, and what's it called? Should not be the tag team champions right now, and then have them have a feud with Rusev right now. They decided it's time for Benjamin and Gable. They've done a great job. They've had great matches on TV, title matches, but
like
they chose an inferior team to challenge themselves.
Yeah,
they pick who they want.
Yep. And I think a big thing with Rusev right now, he's so organic, he's so over right now, but it wasn't. I don't know if it's his time in their eyes to be like that, or if they even care about him at this point. And this is the internal struggle with fans in WWE, I believe. So it's like we give you the answers, and then they look the other way. we got this.
They put at Roddy Piper. As soon as we come with the answers, they change the questions.
Yes, I think that's a great place to end it, James. Yeah. So. Everyone, make sure you guys tune in to the Social Suplex Podcast Network. The SMC Podcast released their Wrestle Kingdom 12 review. It was a very good listen. And Josh did a run-in on that show. Keeping It Strong Style will be debuting the results of their awards. James, you were going to say something?
No.
Okay. Keeping It Strong Style will be, reviewing the results of the New Japan Awards, and Ricky and Clive have been going super strong for us on the network as well. You guys can check me out on the Anchor app as well. If you don't have the Anchor app, please download the Anchor app. You're going to get quick hit audio that I'm sharing in the group. You know, if you have it in the app, it's a little bit like more seamless. You can call in, you can do a couple things with it. We're going to be implementing it with Shoot Saturday, you know, our popular, you know, theme of Saturdays. We want to make this like an audio type forum and give you guys a chance to, like, you know, get out there a little bit more, like your wrestling opinions, and have some more fun with it. Like how it works is you'll download the app. You can either add me, you can add Ricky, you can add Jeremy, whoever you want to add, pretty much, and send it all over. You know, you get 1 minute to just shoot on whatever you want to shoot on, and you do a call in, and then what we're going to do is compile all of them for a podcast that we'll release hopefully once a week. We can try it to see how it goes, and if you guys like it, we'll roll with it. But I'm also, you know, doing some things on my YouTube channel. You can type in youtube.com/dangeroustv. All that audio will be there, as well as like audio column transcriptions and things of that nature. I have a new song coming for Chad Matthews' book that a couple people have heard and they've really liked. It's a wrestling theme song in conjunction with Chad Matthews' book. So yeah, we got a bunch going on right now. James, any final words before we get up out of here?
Oh yeah, for the people listening, because now we've been doing this for an hour. People that even tune in or whatever, want to know that we appreciate you guys, and also, if you guys have like any other thing that you're also about as passionate as you are with wrestling to listen to a podcast like this, let us know. Like me and Rich have talked about this, kicked it around for a while. That we think that like I should. Or he thinks that I should like hop in and talk about different things, like how I talk about wrestling, because there's a few things I'm also into. But Rich isn't into that kind of stuff as much as I am. So like it kind of be more or less. I guess kind of more or less like this podcast where like, except I'd be hosting it and I'd also be like doing most of the talking too. So you guys have things you're passionate about, like share it with us or share it with me, and then we can try and figure something out. And I mean, a lot of guys, whether it's like Simon or Sierra or Josh or whatever else, or Jeremy, we can come together and try to have conversations about certain topics and figure, and can put that out in podcast form and figure this out. So just hit me up and let me know. You hit me on the messenger on Facebook. That's all I got.
For sure. I'm trying to get James on this anchor, because I think James' style is like tailor-made for this medium, especially like all the stuff we send back and forth about like NFL stuff, like college football, recruiting, and everything else like that. So I think that would be a really good medium for him to explore. But that's going to wrap up the show this week. Thank you guys for listening. We would enjoy it if you left a comment on iTunes, or a rating or review, especially 5-star ones. We enjoy those. Oh, yeah. Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, 5 stars by Meltzer. How about it?
Are you asking me rhetorically, or you really want to ask?
I just threw it up there.
Okay. It could have got 5 stars.
Yep. So that's gonna wrap up the show. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.
Later.